Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the introduction track. Please welcome Dennis from Near.
Hello, everybody. I'll share my screen so I can show you all what I have prepared here. There we go. Great. Yeah. So welcome everybody to this presentation on the state of Near and Python. So yeah, before I get started, I'll introduce myself. Yeah, I'm Dennis. I have a background in API development in fintech specifically. Before that, I started in data and analytics. In February this year, I came across Near. I started digging into it, and I loved it for a million reasons, which I will run you guys all through. Yeah, so what is Near? Near is a blockchain, a public blockchain, and as such, it also has an organizational layer behind it. So it has the foundation, which distributes funds. You can read more about it on the white paper on near.org. It's based in Switzerland. You have Pagoda, the company, which is where I work alongside with all the engineers that maintain the core protocol. Well, we're worldwide. And there's the collective as well, which is a series of different organizations throughout the world who engage with Near in different activities. And of course, there's the blockchain itself, which I'm going to demystify or do my best to dig that out in a very short amount of time for whoever's new around here. So yeah, before we get started with that, why blockchain and why Near? For those who are not so very familiar with blockchains, it's pretty much a shared transactional database that's shared between a bunch of maintaining servers, right? All these servers communicate with each other and make sure the data is in check, and there's a reward and punishment mechanism behind how the data is stored and shared. In principle, anybody can read from this database, but writing to it comes with a cost. And Near specifically, and what I like a lot about it is it's fast and scalable. It has a 1 second block generation time. That means that a set of transactions is processed in 1 second. In this particular blockchain, after 2 and a little bit seconds, transactions are declared final. So there's no doubt within the network that they are that they have taken place. It's sharded by design, so there's horizontal scalability built in to the architecture from the get-go. If you don't have this built in from the get-go, I know how it is if you have a lot of code and you try to adapt it to a different architecture after it's been extensively developed in the one way. So that's not the case with Near. It's horizontally scalable by design. User and dev friendly. That's something I love about it. In essence, every program or smart contract, as you would probably know this buzzword, it's pretty much a piece of computer code. It's a program that's run in the network. And that's run within a virtualized environment from within one of these machines maintaining the shared database. So this virtualized environment can run any piece of WASM code. So in principle, you can code in whatever native language you want. In this case, we have an SDK for JavaScript, but there's also one for Rust. And as long as you have your WASM code at the end, you can upload that onto the network and your program is running on the network. So it's quite language agnostic, which is one of the things that also got me very excited about this blockchain. It's sustainable, certified carbon neutral. More details are on our website, and it's cheap. Especially cheap. I think one transaction costs a few orders of magnitude less than $1 per transaction. So it's very doable. So yeah, briefly over how Near works. I touched on a couple points just now, but in principle, it's an account-based model. So everybody has an account. So in this case, I would have an account, Dennis.Near. Guillermo would have an account, Guilla.Near. Maria would have an account, Maria.Near. You can create it using the wallet. And these accounts can perform actions, right? So they can transfer 1 year between accounts, or they can create another account. Let's see, yeah. And all of these accounts can also store a program. So that's the smart contract piece I was talking about. So that's the piece of WASM code or the computer logic that you can store in there that can also perform actions. So that's very nice. So if I save a piece of code on dennis.near, that piece of code can call data, can send data, can also perform transactions under given conditions. So very interesting stuff. For those that are already familiar with blockchain, this is very familiar with what we've already seen in Ethereum, for example, or other similar networks. So yeah, the buzzword, smart contracts. What are they? What they are is actually just a computer program living in an account. They store data and expose it with an interface. They have limits to how much they can compute. At the moment, that limit is 300 milliseconds of computing time. But yeah, they can also, at the moment as well, they're limited by only actions within the network. So they cannot perform HTTP requests for outside the network. And they deal with real money. So security is a top concern. So by all means, and this is what I advocate a lot, is do test. We have testing libraries, testing suites. So if you make computer programs that you want to run on the network, by all means, test them. That's I have YouTube videos about it on our near channel on YouTube. You can look it up. But yeah, I cannot stress enough how important this is. So yeah, but what are we here for? To talk about Python, right? And near. So let's get right to it. As is it right now, we have a package that interacts with the RPC API. So performing actions on the network, so interacting with an account or interacting with code that lives within an account, is all done through the RPC API. So probably a fair share of you know about REST APIs. Well, RPC is just another type of an API. It's more functional oriented, but yeah, it's still an API. So there's a library for that in Python. That's near API Py. In fact, we have a very large hackathon taking place. And also for the next ones, there's interest in whoever can do stuff with this library, even also enhance it. Yeah, we also have an SDK. No, not really. We don't have one. We're still looking for one. I'm going to touch upon this in more detail in a moment. And what the SDK, the difference between the SDK and the RPC API is, the RPC API allows your program to interact with the network directly. The SDK allows you to create that WASM piece of code that you can upload into an account. So in essence, the SDK is something that allows you to convert your Python code to a .wasm file that you can upload to a network. If you want to query historical data from the network, that's where we have the Near Lake indexer framework for. So yeah, by all means, dig into that as well. It's especially useful if you want to build some kind of like analytics dashboard and yeah, you want to exhibit some historical data on your application. So yeah, in fact, I had prepared a couple really quick coding examples that I want to show you guys. So let's see. Yeah, let's go here. So if I just make this full screen, then I have, this is the RPC API syntactic sugar. So this is the Near API Py. In essence, this is not the one that makes the WASM file, but it allows you to interact with the network. As you can see here, it's pretty basic. I don't know. It's straightforward. I don't know if you guys know like TweetPy or some other like famous libraries for Python, right? That allows you to interact with an API. This is pretty much the same thing, right? You create some kind of class, you instantiate it with some important variables that it needs to have, and then you perform your calls. In this case, a function call that adds data to a contract. So let's try this one out. Let's see. Python -m source, and I think this one's called just like that. Yeah. So now this should fail actually because yeah, there we go. Action error. It's not authorized. Yes. So I'm pointing it here to an account that where is it? I am pointing this code. Where did I put it? There. Okay. I'm pointing it to an account that, is this the right project? No. Well, let's just open it again. I'm pointing it to an account in which has restricted, oh, it's because I went full screen. That's why I don't like full screens. I'm pointing it to an account that only allows writing from a specific account. And here we're using this quick account that I just made right now that's not allowed to write to it. But any account can read from it. So we can try the view command and see what it does. So, yep. And view is very similar to call. The difference here with view is that we are not passing any arguments. And under the hood, we're also not paying for any gas. I do see I call this view call function, so that changes stuff. But yeah, it still works in this case. And that's because even if you call it in the sugar function call, it's going to perform the view call anyway. But now with the view function, it should also do exactly the same and even faster now. So we can see here some historical data that was saved on the account. So we see this aloha message. I think there's another one somewhere here, somewhere. Oh yeah, hi over here. So yeah, that's pretty much how that works. You can save those messages and save that data on the account. So yeah, before I conclude, I'd like to invite you guys, for those that are interested, to have a look into specifically this link over here. So if you go to gov.near.org, there's an active discussion taking place right now. So yeah, it's then near-python-tooling-community group, and then this number 3910. Yeah, we're basically discussing about who wants to pick up working on what library, and the foundation is intending to provide funding for this. So it can either be building out the SDK, or so something that converts Python code to WASM, or the other, right? The RPC API package that allows you to interact with the network. A couple of people have proposed something, and yeah, they're also looking with the foundation for the next steps for the grants. If you're interested, join the discussion by all means. Also, reach out to me on Telegram. That's my handle right there. And I will add you to our Telegram group. We might move to another social media app called Zulip, which is a little bit more organized, a little bit easier to navigate. But yeah, that's also being discussed in that gov.near.org link. So yeah, I think hopefully I haven't run out of all the time and I can take a couple questions. Oh yeah. And if you want to just have a look around and see how you can make smart contracts and just learn a little bit how it is to be a smart contract developer, join us here. This is our Discord. I'm there personally as well. Not this week, I'm traveling, but I have other colleagues that are there this week. But yeah, we have a dev support channel. I do look at there occasionally. My colleagues do look there a lot as well. And we answer a bunch of dev questions. And we also have a dedicated site that shows our office hours, where we daily on weekdays during an hour, just log on there through a voice chat, and we can share screens and debug code together or talk about code design. Yeah, that'd be it. So yeah, I think
thank you so much.
I did that on time.
Yes. Thank you so much, Dennis. That was awesome.
Great.
I love the live coding session as well. Does anyone have any questions? I think you nailed it, Dennis, but you can also meet Dennis in the face-to-face. And of course, these talks will be available after the conference. So
awesome. Thank you, everybody.